All right, let's talk about the Madison County housing market. It's been a total whirlwind for the past few years, right? Well, in 2025, things really started to shift. We're going to dig into the official annual report to break down exactly what happened with sales, prices, and all the rest, and figure out what it all means for you.
So, this is the big question, the one on everybody's mind. After years of crazy bidding wars and prices that just kept climbing, is Madison County finally a buyer's market again? Well, the data from 2025 has the answer, so let's get into it.
First up, let's look at sales volume. You know, with interest rates staying high, pretty much everyone was predicting a major slowdown. But the numbers for 2025, well, they tell a totally different story. A story of surprising resilience, actually.
So what's the magic number? It's this, 7,284. That's the total number of homes sold across the county for the entire year. And I know what you might be thinking. That's got to be a drop from the year before, right? Nope. It's actually a 1.8% increase over 2024. I mean, this is a huge deal. It tells us the market didn't just survive, it didn't just tread water, it actually grew a little, completely defying what everyone thought was going to happen.
Okay, let's move on to the part that really hits home for all of us. The money. What in the world happened with prices? After years of just watching them go up, and up, did that rocket ship keep climbing in 2025?
The median sales price for a home in Madison County last year, and just to be clear, that's the number right smack in the middle, not the average, landed at $332,129.
And here it is. This is probably the biggest headline of the entire year. The change from the year before? Zero. A big fat 0% change. That crazy rapid price growth we all got so used to, it just stopped. It hit a wall. Prices totally flattened out.
And if you need more proof, just look at this chart. It's wild. A full 40% of homes, 40, sold for less than the asking price. Now compare that to only 16% that sold for more. So yeah, the days of just assuming a bidding war was going to happen, they seem to be over. That is a massive shift in negotiating power, right back to the buyers.
So you got to ask, why? Why did prices just hit the brakes like that? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is inventory. For the first time in what feels like forever, buyers actually had options to choose from.
Get this, the number of available existing homes on the market, homes that people have lived in before, shot up by 28%. That's a ton more for sale signs out there, giving buyers that one thing they haven't had in years, choice.
But here's a little twist in the story. At the very same time, the supply of brand new homes, new construction, it actually went down by about 8%. So you've got this really interesting dynamic, way more existing homes to look at, but fewer of those shiny new ones.
And this growth in inventory wasn't just for, luxury homes or something. Check out this table. If you look down at the section for listings by price, you'll see listings were up in pretty much every single category. And actually, the biggest jumps were in the more affordable homes, the ones under $200,000.
Okay, so all of this data boils down to a really important term you hear a lot, months of supply. At the end of 2025, that number stood at 4.1 months. So what on earth does that even mean?
It's actually pretty simple. Imagine if, starting today, nobody put a new house up for sale. It would take just over 4 months to sell everything that's already on the market. Now, experts say a healthy, balanced market is somewhere between 4 and 6 months of supply. So hitting 4.1, that's a huge sign that things are getting so much healthier.
So, okay, we've got more choices for buyers and way less pressure. It only makes sense that the whole speed of the market would change, right? And yep, the data shows things definitely took a breather. It's pretty straightforward. Homes just sat on the market longer. The average time jumped from 44 days back in 2024 all the way up to 54 days in 2025. And for a buyer, those extra 10 days, that's golden. It means more time to think, more time for inspections, and crucially, more time to negotiate without that crazy feeling of being rushed.
Now, it's really important to say this does not mean the market is crashing. Not at all. In fact, the analysts who wrote the report said it perfectly themselves. This whole slowdown, it isn't a crisis. It's a normalization. It's just the market getting back to a pace that actually makes sense.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. Sales, prices, how many homes are for sale, how fast they're selling. So let's pull it all together and finally answer that big question we started with. What's the bottom line?
So what does this all mean for you? Well, first off, that insane price growth, it's on pause, at least for now. With more homes for sale, buyers finally have real choices again. The slower pace means that intense, frantic pressure is off. And maybe the biggest thing of all, that negotiating power isn't just with the sellers anymore. It's shifting back to a more even playing field. In short, the market is rebalancing.
And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. We know the market has changed, so as it continues to find this new, healthier balance, where are the smartest buyers and sellers going to find their best opportunities?